Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another Saturday show, live unboxing, discussion, room tour, whatever the heck we got going on. How are y'all doing? I think the parts of the world that observe daylight savings time have made their transition to one or the other, whichever direction you go. I don't know. So, in the southern hemisphere, they're entering spring, or they're in spring. So they would advance their clocks, right? And then we are in fall, so we retard our clocks, right? Spring forward, fall back. My wife is still in the hospital. She thought she was going to get out Monday, and then they decided to do some more stuff to her, so then she didn't get out. They thought that she was going to get out yesterday, and then they decided she wasn't ready to go home then. So now it's back to next week. She's been in the hospital almost 2 weeks now. Happy anniversary to my stepdaughter and son-in-law. This is Venompool. Now, Hot Toys has announced a new Venom figure shipping in 2021 or no 2022. So in like 2 years' time, this figure is going to be shipping out to people. It's from the movie, the Venom movie that came out like 2 years ago, and that Venom's hard to swallow for me. I accept him, of course, because he's part of the Marvel universe. But we don't have the full story of him yet. It's kind of how they just jumped into the middle of it. It's kind of like how in Star Wars you just knew Darth Vader was the bad guy when the first Star Wars came out, which I call Star Wars, the younger generation calls it Episode 4, A New Hope. So when the first Star Wars came out, you just knew Darth Vader was the bad guy. You didn't need to know his backstory to know that he was the bad guy, right? So in episodes 4, 5, and 6, which were, of course, the first 3 Star Wars movies, as far as my generation is concerned, you just accepted him as the bad guy. And so kind of, you can look at Venom in that same manner in this iteration of him in the Sony movies that came out, of him being who he is without having to necessarily know his backstory. Now, we do know his backstory, but his backstory has been told so many different ways based on which universe he happens to be in. Some of them he came back on a shuttle, a spaceship that happened to be manned by Jameson's astronaut son. In the Deadpool universe, Deadpool encountered him first before Peter Parker got him in Secret Wars episode, Secret Wars number 8. So it's Venom still. It's just not the classic Venom, but it is Venom, and it looks all right. Another $400 figure, man. And for what? Really? And then you start seeing these figures that are a few years old. Some of these Black Widows and whatnot, where the suits on them have dissolved. And you say to yourself, pardon me. And you say to yourself, so this is a figure that I bought from Hot Toys as an officially licensed product that has just dissolved in just a matter of years. The figure's not even 10 years old. it hasn't withstood the test of time. And you have to start asking yourself, gee, do I really want to spend $400 on a figure that might dissolve in 5 years? This is a $400 figure. It's a lot of figure here, you know? But still, you have to wonder how much of it's still going to be here in 5 years. What the hell's the size of this? Okay. And I got problems with this already just looking at it. There ain't no damn cell phone that big. And ain't no damn pistol that big. So what they did is they scaled it at 12 inches and then just grabbed the image and just stretched it the additional, I don't know, 4 inches to make it 16 inches big, and then stretched the accessories as well. So that's bullshit. You know what I mean? This should have been a little more accurately 1/6 scaled as well as that. You know what I mean? Let's get Miles' cell phone over here. There's your 1/6 scale cell phone for Miles. And I've got a big phone. I've got the S20. Yeah, they've made them bigger, but not this freaking big. Let's just get with this phone first. This is what's really, shit like this really irks me. You know what I mean? 1/6 scale cell phone. Are you fucking kidding me right now? There's Miles's head. And there's a cell phone next to it. That's his chest. That's probably what he's probably wearing. What, size 11, size 12s? You got a cell phone that's freaking 15 inches tall? Really? And it's a cell phone. It's not a tablet. Tablets don't have cell phone capability on them. They have Skype, they have FaceTime, but not cell phone capability. Come on. That's just lazy. That's just lazy. It's bullshit is what that is. Are you freaking kidding me? Really? This is his handgun? The hell bullets go in here? Yeah, I got a problem with that. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Toy Mafia, how's it going, man? Jake, how are you doing? Matt, what's going on? Save on, Mason. I don't know if I want to do a preview video of Venom or not. Oh my God. So I watched Mandalorian. So my wife and I tried to watch it about, I don't know, a month ago. And she's lost a lot of her brightness ability. So if something isn't illuminated well, she can't see it well, if that makes any sense. And that happens to people as they get older. They require more and more light to be able to see what they're looking at. And so the first movie came out, and there was a lot of inside shots, a lot of stuff that was just inside and didn't illuminate it very well. And they had an opportunity to do so, and they just didn't. So it kind of discouraged my wife. And so we didn't watch any others. And I told you guys that I didn't like how dark it was. And that is also a term sometimes to mean like, like goth or whatever, right? So anyhow, I decided to catch up on it the other day. Let's see, my video here just went bloopy on the YouTube. I hope we're still here. It's like I'm still broadcasting on my phone. You guys still seeing this? Anyhow, I watched The Mandalorian, and oh my God, what an amazing series. Holy smokes. The heck's going on over here? Give me a thumbs up or something if this thing's still broadcasting. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. It's just my computer over here has gone wonky. So anyhow, yeah, man, I watched The Mandalorian, and holy smokes, what an amazing story. I watched all of season 1, and of course the last one came out. Episode 2 was out yesterday, and I've watched that already. And holy smokes, Jon Favreau more or less was in charge of this. Kathleen Kennedy still has, ultimate say-so, I'm assuming. But Jon has really built this show and wrote the show with the fan in mind, which episode 7, 8, and 9 received so much criticism over, because it was, they literally had said something to the effect that they don't give a damn about the fan. They're writing a new story, and they hired people that didn't know anything about the Star Wars universe. Like, gosh darn it. One of the people responsible for the last 3 episodes, I forget which episode specifically he was responsible for, said something about they weren't making princesses who weren't able to do anything and were totally damsels in distress, in reference to Princess Leia Organa. This person had no idea who Princess Leia Organa was, evidently, and just assumed since her name was Princess Leia that she was, a damsel in distress who couldn't do anything. And if you remember correctly from the movies, Leia Organa was no damsel in distress who couldn't do anything. She more or less rescued herself. They got her out of the holding cell she was in, but she's the one that took the blaster and shot the grating out. She's no damsel in distress. I mean, she's standing facing Darth Vader face to face, telling him more or less to get bent. You know what I mean? She wasn't afraid. She was no damsel in distress. So anyhow, if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, if you're an original Star Wars fan, and maybe you're thinking, like possibly some people might be thinking still, that it's still tainted with the breath of 7, 8, and 9, it's not. It's literally written like 4, 5, and 6, in my opinion. I'm looking for his eye just dropped off his head. There we go. Anyhow, it's written with the same spirit and belief in the Star Wars franchise and universe, or well, galaxy, in my opinion, that episodes 4, 5, and 6 were written. And Rogue One. I really enjoyed Rogue One also. So I recommend The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth looking into and getting a hold of. Back to showing this little Venompool head sculpt here. I like the little hooky on the back there, of course. I'm thinking this was the deluxe one, and I think this is what the deluxe piece was on it. I don't remember. On the new Venom, I'm not sure if I want to buy the deluxe piece for the extra maw. I don't see the value in that. I really don't. So the eyes are just falling clean off of him here. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm missing an eye. So here's one. We got the 2 on here. Here's one here. He doesn't stand up very well, does he? So unless an eyeball shows up in his joints, they shortchanged me an eyeball. Ah. Stuck to the foam on the top shell. So anyhow, I'm in love with the Mandalorian series. Really, really, really well done if you haven't seen it. And I really can't wait each week for the next episode to come out. Now, it's pretty powerful. I really think they had no business making all this stuff so much bigger on this character. Too cartoony? Yeah, it comes from the video game series. So maybe in the video game series that was that big? So I guess it falls under shut up and accept it because that's the way it was? I don't know, man. This guy didn't stand up much well at all on his own. Very wobbly. Of course, my bullet head Venom figure had a bad hip, so it also wasn't very steady standing on his own. But he was only like $200. It was made by Hot Toys. So I suppose to justify the larger gun, let's just assume that Venom has the ability to not only manufacture, blades or whatever that are cast out of his own symbiotic ability or self, but let's say he can manufacture weapons too as such. So I guess that would make it believable that he was able to cast this from himself. Right? How's that sound for an excuse? Or maybe the game creators just made this huge-ass gun for him in the video game. There's no gun this damn big. That's a fact. It is pretty cool, though. The hammer cocks, slides. Magazine comes out, full of rounds. He has this feel to him. It doesn't feel the same. Let me get this Deadpool over here. So I don't think he feels the same. Where did I put him at? Here we go. Look at this Deadpool 2 Deadpool. Definitely a different material. This is a form of plastic or rubber here, or something. And this is more so. This is more of a, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it. I really don't. It's rubbery, but it's just not the same as this. I don't know what it's made out of. Silicon rubber, something. It's interesting. So the whole body's cast as this. It's like it's all cast out of a silicon rubber or something. Now the head feels to be similar material, so it's a harder plastic. My eyes keep popping off very easily, but the hands are different. The hands are cast out of this same stuff here. It's a different rubber. No doubt about that. Well, I don't know if they needed to use a stronger magnet or what with these eyes. By the way, I finally got notification from the state of California that they found my ballot, for those of you that are following that fiasco. Even though they've been reporting to the Associated Press since 8 o'clock Tuesday night that they had received 100% of the ballots. They didn't claim that they received mine until Thursday. And then I got really angry because at 8 o'clock I took a screen capture of how many votes they had received. And the vote number didn't change on Friday when I looked back on it. They've changed it now, but I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. In the 2016 what do you call them? I forget now. The elections that are held in spring, where you vote for your party to determine who's actually going to be allowed to run for the primary election in November. In the 2016 election here in California, we spring election, you filled out your little, if you went to the polling location on election day, they gave you your ballot. They verified who you were only by asking what you said your name was. You looked on a sheet and you would point to your name. You could see all the names of everybody that was voting there. You could have chosen any one of them and they wouldn't ask for verification of you being who you said you were. So anyhow, you would point to the book and you'd say that that was you. Then you would sign your name. And supposedly that's how they would verify. Supposedly somebody has gone through all those millions of ballots that were cast and verified that each signature matched. So anyhow, you would point your name out. You would sign it. And that way no one else could get your ballot at that polling station. And then you could take your ballot and fill in all the little, with your ink pen, and fill in all the little ovals, and then go over to the scanning machine and stick it in the scanner, and your vote was counted instantly. Now, there was a person that stood by the scanner that would make sure that you were putting it in right side up. And my wife said that she didn't appreciate the person looking at it because she said it felt like as if he was taking note of who it was you voted, and the sanctity of the privacy of the vote is what's supposed to be so important here. You know, you don't have to tell who you vote for. That's never been a requirement that you had to say who it was you voted for. So that was the spring election. I forget what they call those. Anyhow, for the November election of 2016, we went to our polling location on election day, filled in our little, pointed our name out, gave us a ballot. Didn't have to prove who you were, didn't have to show an ID. Gave us a ballot, went and filled in our ballot, and there was no scanning machine there. So I said, where's the scanning machine? So this is on Super Tuesday, election day. I said, where's the scanning machine? They said, oh, no, we don't scan them anymore due to potential hacking. So they put it into this box, which they then took back to the main precinct when the polling location closed at 8 o'clock that night. Took it back to the main precinct and counted the votes then. All the voting facilities in California worked the same way. However, at 8 o'clock at night, November, whatever it was, 2016, they were announcing who won in California. So Wednesday, I called the election official in California. I'm like, what the hell? How the hell are you announcing who won California, who won the governorship, who won Congress, who won Senate seats, when you haven't even counted my vote, let alone however many else were shoved in that box across the entire state? Her answer at the time was that the decision is based off of the tendency and the trends of earlier votes of people who mailed in their ballots. So immediately at that point, I decided I wasn't voting on election day anymore. I was going to vote earlier. And I wasn't going to have my vote not counted. I said, so you've already made this decision as to who it was that won all these seats and these positions and these bills that have been voted into law by 8 o'clock. And when are you counting these? And they said, oh, well, we have until December, whatever the day was, 4th, 6th, 12th. I forget what day it was. An entire month to count the ballots. And I said, oh, so when you find out then that it changes, you're going to actually change who won? They said, oh, yeah, we'll do that. And I said, yeah, I'm sure you will. So anyhow, that's why I made sure to vote early this time. So when the ballots were mailed on October 5th, and my wife received hers on October 7th, and I didn't, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, October 13th, I still didn't have a ballot. She did. You go online, it tells you my ballot was mailed on October 5th, same as it said about hers. It tells you when your ballot was mailed, where it supposedly is in case. And it don't take, it's mailed in the county where you live. It don't take more than a week for it to get to you. 1 or 2 days, most. It's just going down the street. So I called them on the 13th, where's my ballot? And they said, well, we mailed it on the 5th. And I said, yeah, I see that. It's now a week later. Everybody and their brother has got theirs. I've asked my neighbors, they got theirs. My wife has hers. Where's mine? So they said, we'll mail you a new one. So they mailed me a new one. So on October 15th, 2 days later, I received not only the original ballot that was mailed on October 5th, 10 days later, but I also received the one that was mailed on October 13th. Miraculously, both of them showed up on the same day. So I decided I was going to vote the original one because this was a secondary ballot, a replacement ballot. I'm going to vote the original one. So I have her original one, my original one. She filled hers out. I filled mine out. And we took them down to an official collection box. Some of the controversy in California is that supposedly there were boxes that weren't official. This one was an official box. And the box was not much bigger than this square. So the whole thing would have been about that big. So however many ballots can be put into a box a little bit larger than that. A few hundred. Definitely not more. Definitely not like 100,000 ballots. They're not going in here. Okay? So on October 15th, we put our ballot in there. On October 20th, they stated that they had received my ballot, my wife's ballot, and it had been counted. Mine didn't say anything. So I waited. On October 29th, 9 days later, or 2 weeks from the moment that I'd actually put it in that ballot box, I called them and asked them where it was. And they said, well, we received, hundreds of thousands of ballots. And I said, there wasn't hundreds of thousands of ballots in there. They said, well, we literally sort them in right then when we taken them out. And I said, where did mine go? My wife's was received on October 20th, literally counted on October 20th. Where's mine? So long story short, supposedly my ballot just miraculously appeared on November the 6th or 5th. November 5th, my ballot miraculously appeared. So everything had been sitting around since October someplace between the 15th and the 20th. And then they just, at the last minute, after the actual election, found my ballot and supposedly processed it. Supposedly it was lost in hundreds of thousands of ballots. That's what you do, is take them and throw them into a giant pile, take the box and just toss them. And wherever they fall is wherever they fall, like emptying a dump truck. They're like, no, we go through the entire box. And I said, where the hell is mine? So this whole thing is just really torquing me off. You should be allowed to cast your vote and know that your vote is counted. No matter who it is you're voting for or what measure it is that you're voting for. It's the whole thing of having the democracy that we have, or a federal republic, or whatever it is that you want to necessarily consider it. And whenever somebody messes with that, truthfully messes with that, then all hope is lost. If you can't trust the vote, then what can you trust? And it's so funny that this is their wording. Their wording is, there has never been any evidence of mass voter fraud. Why are you not counting my ballot as soon as I cast my vote in the polling station? Why is it not going into the scanner? Because of mass voter fraud. You just said that there's never been any evidence of mass voter fraud. So the entire state of California can no longer have their ballot counted instantly by going through a scanner because of mass voter fraud. So which is it? Has there never been any evidence of mass voter fraud? Or is there evidence of mass voter fraud, and that's why you can't scan my ballot anymore? And on top of that, if it's Russian conspiracy that states that they were voting, stuffing the ballot for Trump or whatever, or making it Republican or whatever they were supposedly claimed to have been done in 2016, and that's why they did away with the scanning in the first place. If it was supposedly the Russians that did it, then why the hell did all the Democrats win California? Hillary won California. Dianne Feinstein won California. Nancy Pelosi won California. Adam Schiff won California. Maxine Waters won California. Those hackers didn't do a very good job if they were mass voter frauding. I'm sorry to just go off on this tangent. It's very personal because it affected me directly. It affected me directly in 2016, and 4 years later, an even worse scenario, and it just really upsets me. You hear people will say, well, I don't bother voting because your vote don't count. And they claim that your vote does count. And then when you find some baloney like this, it really makes you think, what the hell's really going on? You know what I mean? So I'm sorry to go off on this rant, this tangent, but it's what's affecting me. For real, it really is. It just pisses me off. The whole thing does. And this just feels cheap. He's going to look good in my collection. I'm glad to have him. I don't know if he's worth $400 though. And I don't know if this material is going to hold up 10 years. I love Spider-Man. I love Venom. I've fallen in love with Deadpool from the movies. So I've done like a backwards Deadpool thing. Became a Deadpool fan only because of the movies. I mean, I knew who Deadpool was. I mean, this is just a suit put over a cheap body. They just like injection molded some crap and just threw it onto this. The whole thing is just mushy, and it's just very cheaply made. Very cheaply made. For real. Don't expect much if you haven't ordered this figure. For real. I just like the way he looks. It's probably the only thing I have to say good about it at this point. The eyes just fall clean out. I wasn't even touching it. I just shifted the head forward, and just that movement, the jerkiness of it, jerked the eye out of there. It's on the floor. Yeah, see that one? I wasn't even touching it. You see, watch it just pop right out of there. It wasn't touching the head either, just the neck. So yeah, they didn't use strong enough magnets. They really just went on the super cheap for this. I mean, I'm happy to have them. I paid for them though, so it's not like I'm saying, oh, he's well worth the $400 I spent on him, because he certainly isn't. That's a fact. Literally, this is a $200 figure. Tops! This is borderline $10 figure from your local drugstore, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna cry in shame. So let's see. Hawkeye in-game pissed me off. Black Widow in-game pissed me off. And now Venompools pissed me off. No holster for his firearm? No holster for his firearm. Interesting. And plastic swords. What are these? These are metal. It's plastic. This is cold. Touching it feels like almost like an ice cube. You know, it's cold here in the house. This is obviously not, because it's plastic. Yeah, they really went on it cheap. For real. Jeez. And they got my $400. Here's the thing, too, I've noticed of late on Hot Toys figures. You sure you don't have to worry about them selling out? So I guess they've done what I've bitched about for all these years, that whenever I say something to the effect of, why haven't they made the rest of the cast from Black Panther, or why haven't they made Korg, right, or some of these other figures, or what was it called, the Shadow from Ant-Man and the Wasp, the villain there, or the Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man. Why haven't they made these secondary figures? And of course, I state that it takes them so long to send the figure to you. They literally could just put it up for pre-order, and however many sell is however many they make. If 100 people order the figure, and I really would believe that at least 100 people would order a Yellow Jacket if they were to ever make one. It's not like they're cranking the figures out and have them sitting on a shelf and then have to try to sell them. just sell them to pre-order. So, for instance, like Chitauri Soldiers, you can still buy Chitauri Soldiers brand spanking new from the day. So you can get a good deal on some Chitauri Soldiers buying them brand new, never before opened by anybody, and you would be the original owner of them. And however, the nowadays simply just only manufacture what you sell and sell out. They'll keep a figure on pre-order for like ever, you know, and so there's no reason not to make these figures. They'll know exactly how many they're going to sell. So with that in mind, there's no sense in like hurrying up and rushing and buying right this moment, the moment that it comes out. I haven't pre-ordered my Venom yet. I'm probably going to. I can't imagine why I wouldn't. It appears that these are specific, by the way, even though they look identical. These two pieces do look like they're cast from the same mold. Totally. I couldn't get this one on this arm. So let me see if I can put this piece on this arm. Used to be, man, if you didn't get that order placed right then and there, you missed out. Yeah, okay, so there's actually, so like this doesn't line up totally properly on there, but it did line up more on this one. So that looks pretty good, pretty fluid. So now let's try this piece over here. I mean, they look identical when you're looking at them from here. And there you go. It lines up practically perfectly. So yeah, there's definitely a left and a right, or a short and a long, or these pieces actually do belong on one piece only and not on the other. Interesting, because I'm kid you not. When you look at them from this angle, I swear to you, they appear to be cast out of the same mold. But they're not. I guarantee you they're not. Really interesting. You know what I never knew, and I mean, I followed Venom from the beginning, is that he has multiple rows of teeth. I noticed that just the other day for the first time. And if you see there on his bottom jaw, there's multiple rows of teeth there, like like a shark would have multiple rows of teeth. And interesting, I never noticed that before. Now I'm going to have to go back to all the comics and actually dig into this. See if it's always been there. I just missed it. For some reason, I just assumed he just had, one row of teeth. And if he hasn't had multiple rows of teeth from the beginning, when did he get this additional row of teeth? I like it. It's pretty cool. Thought I saw more eyes in here someplace. Ah, here we are. I did see more eyes. And an instruction manual. I gotta tell you, man, that Mandalorian really makes me want to go buy every single Mandalorian figure that ever has been. I kid you not. I am really, 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 really impressed with that whole show. and everything about it. I've been watching the behind the scenes as well. I think I've only watched the first 3 of them. So after you get done watching the whatever episode they're on, those will start playing. And it's really nice hearing the directors and Favreau and all the guys talk about the creation of the episodes and their love for Star Wars. And that's what made it, I think, all the better of a series, was that they are fans. They were fans themselves of the series to some degree. Some of them are more fans than the others, but they all have a love for Star Wars, which I don't think anybody that was affiliated with 7, 8, and 9 really truthfully did. I like these head sculpts. Either one of them will work perfectly fine, in my opinion. I think they each tell a story. And I'm 100% positive the eyes are interchangeable with the 2 head sculpts. I can't imagine why they would make the eyes not fit on whichever head sculpt you want to put in there. There really isn't like an open eye. So you have, this is as far open as it gets. And this is the most closed that it gets. And then the other eye is right in between those 2. So there's no like real wide open eye. I'm trying to remember whether Venom's eyes are huge open, but I guess they're going more for the Deadpool expression. But I guess I would have liked to have seen maybe a little more open one than just this one. It's fine. But I think Deadpool does have like a little more open eye when he's like shocked or something. But I guess they don't want to give a shocked look to Venom. What would he be shocked about? His lunch didn't taste the way that he thought it was going to. I wonder what the slits, the full-on close, tight slits would look with this grin. That's the full closed slits on that grin. Venom's a fun character. It's going to be nice to see Carnage on the big screen. I was really hoping they were going to continue Tobey Maguire storyline and bring Carnage in back then in the Sinister Six. That's what I really thought 4 and 5 was going to do. That's the wide open ones with the grin. I don't think you can go wrong either way. So it's going to be interesting to see Carnage when that comes about. And I really want to see, the Peter Parker tie-in to the new Venom. With them like kind of doing halfway into the story, I don't know if it's because they didn't have it fleshed out yet, or if they just thought it was too much origination story to make any interest to anybody. Maybe they didn't want to make another Spider-Man movie as such. This is the slit, the smallest slit eyes on this chomping face, or whatever you want to call it. What I'm curious is, where do these tendrils go? Get the instruction manual out and find out. So his belt and the little pouch on his thigh are harder plastic, as well as the shackles on his wrists and ankles, and his boots are harder plastic, But everything else is a softer plastic. I mean, everything else is. I mean, it's this type of material. And this actually has a wire in it. That's cool. CBS Sci-Fi, how's it going, man? Glad you guys joined me today. Thank you. I really look forward to these Saturday shows. I really appreciate spending time with you guys, and I appreciate you spending time with me. Let's go through this instruction manual. So section A is showing you how to remove the eye pieces, and of course they've come out real easy, but they're saying just grab them up there at the top corner there. You see that, right? And now section B shows where the tendrils go in his chest. So let's go ahead and put those bad boys in. Oh no, these aren't tendrils. These are tongues. Well, well, well. Good thing I read the instruction manual. Look at that. Holy smokes. It's purple. So Venom is red and black. Venompool is red and black. There is little... So, all right. So looking at him here, you'll see these more defined veins on his body. Okay? And on the ones that are really more defined, they're purple. It's really hard to tell. Now, I'm curious if, for instance, if you had a black light on him, if that would shine up more. But like here's one here that travels like this over his shoulder, and here's one that travels down his bicep right here. And again, like I said, I don't know if you can see there, but it's actually purple, that one and that one. And that's pretty cool. It blends in unless you're looking at him. And under a UV light, it may show up differently. And it's on all of these little areas. There's little sections there where there's purple. This tongue is that same color. So just looking at it, just glancing at it, not paying any mind to it, you would think that it's black, but it's not. It's for fact purple. And I don't know whether or not the light is shining on it well enough for you to see that. But this thing's huge. This is the bigger of the two tongues that they provide. This one is smaller. One goes to the right. So the first one there goes to the right. And this one goes up and to the left. So depending on what you are looking for in your posing of Venom, that's neat. I didn't expect that. Again, this is my first reveal of these figures. I don't watch any of the other videos until I've opened it myself, because I want to get this this feeling out of it. So if I were to watch the other videos, and I would already be an expert on the figure, and I could just go through and pointing out all this. But I like the fascination. I enjoy discovering it and either loving it or hating it. You know what I mean? I want my opinion forged off of what I see, and I think it's an honest opinion in that manner. Like I said, for many years, gosh, 20 years, I didn't pay for a movie. My pay for writing reviews was getting to see the movies for free. They didn't actually pay me for doing movie reviews. I just got to see all the movies for free. I see all the movies. And I've seen some really bad movies. But I was able to see it with a fresh outlook and make a decision based off of what I was seeing, and then write a truthful review over that. And I think that's kind of how I am looking at this in the same manner. if I want to go to the movie before anybody else and get a fresh view on it without being tainted by someone else's opinion, I want to be able to look at my figure in the same way and share with you guys my personal opinion on that, and be able to tell you honestly my initial impression over it. And that's, like I said initially, this is junk. I'm digging this tongue and this head though. The head sculpt is cool. I'm really digging this. It's not worth $400, but they did a good job with these head sculpts. I mean, originally I was just thinking this grinning, what the hell are you thinking? You know, you really don't want to know what I'm thinking, you know, expression on his face. But now with the tongue, and of course you got to have the tongue, which we don't have with the bullet head Venom. Let's get him up here. I love this bullet head Venom. We do have the tongue. Hold the horses. I'm sorry that I spoke in such manner. There is a tongue on Venom down here. His tongue is part of his story. If I can get him out of here. So this bullet head figure is an unlicensed Venom, so they called him the Poison. But no, Marvel made no money from this. But you kind of have to fault Marvel or whomever held the license, Hot Toys, for not making it. It's like, you missed your chance. One of the most popular characters ever in Marvel Comics history, and you decided not to make a figure of him. The head is very similarly sized. And I have him posed on that because he doesn't stand on his own. So all right, so they're not interchangeable. This is definitely larger, but what do you think of that? God damn it. Ugh. So this head is nice. I liked this head a lot. This head is better. Okay, if this head wasn't made, this head would have been perfect. Now, after this head has been made, I'm thinking, well, they could have done a little bit better job with this. This is nice. It's really nice. This is better. Not really interchangeable, are they? The Venompool head is too big on the bullet head Poison, and just a little bit too small on Venompool. Let me go pick up my head and find his eyes. Between these two, though, I'm digging the bullet head poison still more than Venompool. This guy definitely wasn't dethroned, but here you see, for instance, just how loose this is. So that's why he is posed on the pose that he is. I like it. I think it's a good pose. It looks really well. But that's why he's there, because he won't stand on his own. And also having him as such, I'm able to actually lower him a bit more to get him into the Detolf properly heighted. If you passed on this, boy, you really missed out. If you got him, I would imagine you probably enjoy him as much as I do. He really resembles what I envision or have grown up to know Venom as. And I'm very pleased to have this figure. And again, I think he was $200 something or something. He definitely wasn't $400. Here in the UK, apart from COVID, we have an upswing on it there as well. I'm so tired of COVID, man. So tired of COVID. It's funny, you know, I thought that they were showing that these went into his chest. There is two little indents here on his chest. So I thought that's what they were saying. This tongue went. I thought these were tendrils that were coming out of him, but it's not. It's his tongue. It looks really cool again. If you can see that purple, man, you really are getting a delight in seeing the paint applied to it. They did a really good job with that. I have to admit, I'm really impressed with this purple colored tongue. I don't know which head to display. All right, so that was B, A, B, C. Talks about the movement of the body, the head, and D is the movement of the elbows, shoulders, and the arms. E is the movement of the legs. And F is the placing of the tendrils. Wow, they hid this well. So unlike the Iron Spider that Hot Toys did, Tom Holland's Iron Spider, if you're not using the mechanical arms on here, they have this really awkward piece that goes into the hole. just find them here. You get this piece that covers it up that really doesn't belong there. Let me find which piece goes on that piece specifically. It would be this piece. So you put this on here to cover up the hole on his back where the mechanical arm or appendage comes out of him. Do you see this piece here? I don't remember seeing that on the character in the movie. I don't remember seeing this big, huge, bulking piece coming out of it. It's just like it just came out of the suit, you know? And so they have this weird piece that they put on there for this. This is the Iron Spider base that came with the re-edit, Sentinel re-edit Iron Spider. I like this better for this piece. And I have the MCU Iron Spider base with the Sentinel piece. Just looks better. So anyhow, they did a really piss poor, poorly managed, poorly thought out, poorly designed cover for that. Well, and this guy, you can't even see it. I'll put all these back. They could potentially get misplaced. The tendrils on this Venom, I challenge you to even be able to locate them where they go first off. I'll even point out where they go. I'll show you here on the sheet, okay, where it says they go, and then I'll point them out here. I can barely even see them. All right, right here, this little corner piece, that little black, that's one. That's one right there. The next one is right here. It's the red piece up at the top. Can you even see that that even comes out? They did a great job of hiding that. Superb hiding job of that. They give you 4 locations and only 2 tendrils. I would appreciate 2 more tendrils. That would have been nice. Now can you see where it goes? I mean, it totally camouflages in. This is the piece. Totally camouflages in there. And then you can just bend it to whatever position that you want. That's neat. That I like. That was thought out very well. They did a good job with that. That's good planning and thinking. I like that. Why couldn't they do that with Spider-Man here? What the hell? I mean, he looks, if you don't have his little arms on him, you don't want to look at his back at all because of those pieces. They just look terrible. This is neat. They really did a good job of hiding that. And there's 4 locations, 2 on each side. The other two are pretty much the same spot on the other side. So the black piece is what comes out here. See that? A little black piece comes out right there. And then right underneath his strap, little red piece right there comes out. They really did a good job hiding that. That I'm pretty impressed with. Bravo there. Still not worth $400. He's definitely a presence. If you want him in your Detolf standing, you're going to have to take his swords out of his sheath. He'll stand inside the Detolf at the regular height with the swords removed from the sheath. If you put his katanas into his fists here, then you can do that. And why not? It's Deadpool, right? And this would totally make sense because in the Deadpool universe, Deadpool claims that he first encountered Venom. That's the retelling of the Secret Wars. See, Deadpool was created after Secret Wars. Secret Wars was created like in 83 or something like that. And Deadpool was not around. If I remember correctly, he was not around in the 80s. He was a manifestation in the 90s. So as Deadpool told his story, he was in the Secret Wars and he encountered the Venom symbiote first. And of course, Deadpool is such a twisted mind in the first place. That is supposedly what made Venom, the Venom symbiote, so twisted in that regards, was because he encountered Deadpool first. Because, you're imprinted in that manner, which is another reason why Venom and Eddie Brock hate Spider-Man so much. Venom hates Spider-Man because Peter Parker rejected him. Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker because he blames him for him losing his job at the Daily Bugle. So that's why they have a mutual hatred towards Peter Parker. So this totally fits a story, if you will. A believable story. If you buy into Deadpool's retelling of the Secret Wars, and if that's the Venom origin story that you accept, golly. I'm going to have to buy another Detolf. I stuck my eye into his tongue. Ew. Venom just licked my eyeball. There we go. He just feels flimsy. He's heavy, but he just feels cheap. We got a finger pointing hand. goodness. Takes every effort I have to get on here. Ugh. Golly. I suppose I'd want it too tight then, too loose. After it's all said and done, right? There we go. Sheesh. You know, I guess I'm kind of disappointed as well in regards to this. If since this entire suit is this material that they applied over to a body, they should have just gone ahead and done the shoulders too. For real. I mean, yeah, you've got the ability to totally turn his arm all the way around, 360 degrees. I don't feel a bicep swivel. And there's a butterfly joint. But, I mean, shit, just restrict the shoulders and just make the suit just one whole piece. You know, like you did here at the legs and the elbows. Why even have the shoulders separate in the first place? It came out too easy. Oh, jeez. And that's just a thought of, you know, what in the world if you are going to use this shell of a suit over this body, why didn't you just do the whole body, you know? I mean, I dig them. I'm going to enjoy them in my collection. But, boy, what a ripoff. I like how he looks. Can't argue that. Just looking at him, you know, he looks good. But handling him, you're like, oh, come on, really? This is the best you got? This is what we're reduced to? Kind of disappointing in that regards. Let's see what the other tongue looks like. He does stand on his own, which is good because they didn't give you a figure base. I'm not sure which tongue I like. And I don't think you can go wrong with either head, either. They both work. I don't know. See, in order to be the Venompool, Wade would have to be in him. So, putting him on the shelf, I don't know who I would group him with. Or have Wade next to him and he'd just be the alternate universe Deadpool, right? What would be wrong with that, right? That would work. I like that they continued on with more or less the appearance of what Venom is. So, of course, this is made from the video game. So the video game creators would have followed Deadpool, his uniform, in that regard. So they did a good job in that regards. I've never played the video game, so I don't know exactly what it looked like in there. I'm assuming this is exactly what it looked like. But I bought him because I'm a Venom fan, I'm a Deadpool fan, Spider-Man fan, and I wanted him in my collection. So I'm happy to have him in that regards. But he's cheap. I imagine he probably sold out, though. I don't know if you can buy him new anymore. Venom was the first anti-hero, if I remember correctly, or villain to get his own comic line. I think I remember that being the statistic back in the 90s when they did that. So where are we at? F. Let's go to G. G talks about his swords and how his sheath goes on his back. H shows the pistol and how the magazine can go inside of it and how the slide can be cocked back. The hammer will actually move as well, up and down. I shows the interchangeable heads. And J shows where to be careful at in regards to things. Whenever I look at these pictures of where to be careful, it makes me wonder if maybe somebody who works at Hot Toys took a prototype figure and gave it to their kid or some kid and said, here you go, have at it. And then they played with it for like a week and then gave it back to them. And whatever got damaged or whatever the kid choked on is how they knew what to tell us not to do to it. And then, of course, here's the first page and the last page. A VGM, video game masterpiece. VGM35? Yeah. Marvel Venom Contest of Champions Venompool. MVCOCVP. VGM35. 904-9371. So it used to be Sideshow, if they had an exclusive piece that wasn't being sold by like Big Bad Toy Store, they would put a 1 at the end of it. So if you bought the standard piece, it would have the 6 digits, 904, for instance, 904-937. And then if you got the Sideshow exclusive version, it was 904-937-1. So this is the Sideshow exclusive version, evidenced by the brown box. that has the one at the end of the 6-digit code. So like if you're like on Sideshow, you could type in that number in the search bar to pull up the figure in the HTTP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you put that up there, you would find the figures based off of that too. So there's obviously a 904-937, which is a non-exclusive version. So this one was the exclusive version, which would have been only available at Sideshow or other Hot Toys official distributors. For instance, Big Bad Toy Store is not an official distributor. They sell Hot Toys products, but they don't necessarily get them directly from Hot Toys. Now, they may, I don't know, but I think they have to buy them from Sideshow or somebody to be able to sell them themselves. So they won't get the exclusive pieces. Not from Hot Toys. In case you're curious. So what else is going on in the chat? 4-week lockdown here again. Yeah, California locked down in July. July the 24th, I think, was the day that they said that you weren't allowed to go anywhere without a mask on, period. And and we still have cases of COVID everywhere. It's so funny. They're talking smack and they're saying, well, President Trump didn't do anything soon enough. Hell, California didn't do anything until July 24th. California had some of the first cases of COVID coming into this country. They didn't lock things down in January or February or March or April or May or June. July 24th was the day that the governor said you had to have a mask if you go into a building or if you deal with somebody, state law. So, it's the gray area between your right as an individual to do whatever you want, and then whether or not you could possibly infringe on somebody else's right by breathing on them. It's like a seatbelt law. Truthfully, I can't understand how a seatbelt law can even be held up in the Constitution. I have a hard time believing if you were to take a seatbelt law to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court would truthfully say that the state has the authority to require that you wear a seatbelt or you wear a helmet. Don't get me wrong. I'm 100% pro seatbelts and pro helmets for motorcycles. I don't see any reason you would want to put yourself at risk and not wear a seatbelt or a helmet. Statistically, you have a better chance of surviving in an accident wearing a seatbelt or a helmet in a motorcycle. So I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to protect yourself in that manner. But I truthfully have a hard time believing, because it's the same way that abortion became more or less legal, because they said, you can't tell somebody what they can't necessarily do with their body or whatever. So I don't understand how a seatbelt law, truthfully, if it was truthfully to go to the Supreme Court, I can't imagine for 1 second that the Supreme Court would say, yeah, the state has the right to tell you have to put a seatbelt on, because it's only yourself that it's protecting. You know what I mean? Me wearing a seatbelt necessarily, if I were to get into a car accident, or not wearing one, isn't necessarily going to injure anybody else other than me. Now, obviously, if there's another occupant in the car, I might bang up against them or whatever, but ain't nothing stopping my arms from flailing around and knocking them in the head in the first place if we get into an accident as it is. So we are not totally constrained. Mine could still flail around and pop them in the head if we're involved in an accident. So it's not like a seatbelt's going to keep me from injuring any other occupant in the car, but it's really protecting you. And so for the state to say that you have to wear a seatbelt, you're now infringing upon the rights of the individual. A face mask is similar in that manner, because you're restricting my right as an individual. You're telling me I have to wear a mask. I understand the argument that it's keeping me from breathing on you or sneezing on you or coughing on you, which could then infect you. So I understand that argument. But then also it kind of comes down to the point of, well, if you're so concerned about that, then you wear the mask. Yeah, I've seen the little picture of the guy wearing the pants and peeing on himself and peeing on you, and the pants keep the pee from going, blah blah blah, or whatever else. But it's just so difficult to say that, and when the argument becomes an issue of stating that because President Trump didn't require everybody to wear masks back in January, he didn't act fast enough. July 24th, California, that's when we locked down. The federal government doesn't dictate specifically directly what a state has to do. The United States is very similar to the way Europe is set up. We're essentially 50 states and territories that self-govern, but we are united under one umbrella. Okay? So, for instance, this is why they did away with the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. Back in the 70s, they said, back before the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit, the nationwide speed limit was 70 miles an hour. You could drive 70 miles an hour anywhere you want. Well, the gas crunch came, and they claimed that 55 would save on gas, and it would save people's lives because you wouldn't be driving so fast. So they made a federally limited speed limit of 55 miles an hour. You couldn't drive over 55 miles per hour anywhere in the United States. Well, in the 80s, some states challenged that and said, hey, we are our own entity. We can make our own rules. We don't want to follow the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit anymore. We think it's stupid. It's antiquated. It's not saving on gas. You should be able to drive however fast we want. So the Supreme Court said, you're right. The federal government has no jurisdiction in dictating how fast you as a state can assign on your roads. Now, the federal government said, well, fine, if you're going to do this, then, we're not going to give you any money for funding or whatever. And I think that kind of fell to the wayside, and that's no longer an issue in regards to funding for the interstates. But that was like their argument against that when that went down. When even in the Civil War, when the states were dividing, they had a Mason and Dixon line that they created that were saying anybody that was over the Mason and Dixon line was considered a free state automatically in the United States, and every state that was below the Mason and Dixon line was considered a slave state in the United States. And this was done by the federal government. And when the states were dividing into what they were going to do, and the people were deciding what they wanted, where they wanted to stand in regards to the decisions, General Robert E. Lee was the commanding officer of the United States Army. He answered directly to Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln asked him, "What are you going to do, General, in regards to the North and the South? You're from Virginia. Virginia is a slave state." And he said, "I will do what my beloved Virginia will do." People were solid to their state first, and then the country second. We've kind of lost that. We've kind of lost that self-identity where you identify with your state first, and then the country second. So the people want to blame the president for not locking down the country, but the state has that right to do that. If California was so concerned about it, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have been walking around in February in Chinatown in San Francisco saying to hug everybody. They would have locked down the state in January when they had that first cruise ship come in here that had COVID people on it. That should have been the lockdown. Gavin Newsom had the authority and the ability to do that and didn't do it. So there's just a lot of baloney and bull, and I'm really sick and tired of it. I'm really sick and tired of it. They said, if it's locked down for 2 weeks, that'd do it. I've been locked down for months and ain't done it. So I hate that I go off on these tangents. I appreciate you guys listening to me, especially because a lot of you aren't even in the United States. It has nothing to do with anything that you guys are even affected with. So I'm sorry for going off sometimes on stupid shit, but I don't know. So you get the hands for the swords. You get the grabbing hands. You get fighting fists that aren't holding anything. You get a left-hand pistol hand. It fits it well. Trigger finger fits in there perfectly. And you get a pointing finger hand pointing you out. So I would imagine then the grasping hand would be the hand that would hold this huge ass cell phone. So it comes with some neat accessories in that regards. But no, he's not a $400 figure. No way. No way. Now, if he sells out, and I don't know if he is or not, and you can't get him anymore, well, then I guess he would become a $400 figure, because that's what he'll end up selling for. I mean, figures easily top $800 when they are in demand. So, in that manner, he becomes a $400 figure. But if he's just going to be something that they're going to crank out left and right and just make thousands of them, way overpriced. Way overpriced. So that then I guess goes to the argument of people that claim the reason Hot Toys re-released the Mark 47 was because Hot Toys loves you so much that they didn't want you to be overburdened by the scalpers that were charging $800 for the Mark 47. Then why the hell did Hot Toys charge $400 for this piece of shit? Explain that to me. I have a hard time believing that there's more than $10 worth of material here. Maybe $20 worth of material. It's all plastic. Plastic and rubber. Material-wise, tops $20. No ways it's more than $20 in material. So, no, it's pure profit item. Hot Toys is scalping you, man. Hot Toys is scalping you, because they certainly aren't paying their designers and developers $100 for each one of these that are made. You know, the guy that drew them up, and I don't even know if this is even hand painted. Okay, each one of these that you put in the box, we're going to give you $100. We're charging $400 for these. Costs us $20 in material. We're going to pay you $100. It's going to cost us $20 to ship it. That gives us the $250 that we're making profit on it. We love our collectors so much, we're not going to scalp them. We're only going to make just the right amount of money that we're only going to make $1 off of each one of these. That's it, just $1. Because we love you. Yeah, bullshit. He's a piece. He's definitely a full presence. I don't know if I could even put anything other than just one of these in a Detolf, to tell you the truth. I don't know if you can even put, if this would even really fit. 13 inches. Gotta be right to the door. That's the way they're standing right now, that's 14.5 inches. So the tendrils would have to come over more, and Deadpool would have to be tighter to them. But yeah, you could pose them as such. Maybe put the sideshow one on this side. to do something with this. It's right in his face. How's that look? Not bad? Would work, right? What's the width on this? The same, isn't it? 14.5. Oh, that's a, gosh, that's 16 inches there. That's fine. These tendrils will just be in more as such up against the side of the box. Yeah, that would look good in a Detolf as such. That's what I think. What else you guys got going on? By the way, Patreons, thank you very much for your support. What I'm planning on doing is uploading all my videos commercial free onto Patreon. So, some of y'all mentioned that there's too many ads on the videos. Well, I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll put all my videos on Patreon for free. Still put them on YouTube, obviously. Still broadcast live on YouTube. But if you're a Patreon supporter, you don't have to be paused by an ad over so many minutes that they do it. I've never really loved this Sideshow figure. I think you can still buy this brand new, but he works in regards to telling the Deadpool universe story, the multiverse. Deadpool really takes advantage of the multiverse. Doesn't he like kill every Deadpool in all the other multiverses? Deadpool core. There's essentially whatever Marvel character there ever is, there's a Deadpool version of it. Like a Captain America and a Wolverine. I mean, all of them. It's quite funny. Quite funny. See, it looks like next to Tank. Juggernaut. Juggernaut's a pure beast. So I have Juggernaut standing on Thanos' base. Look at that. If you guys passed on this, I don't know what to tell you. You really missed out. You for fact missed out. Look at this. Jeez. Holy cow. He does not fit with the shelves in their standard position in a Detolf. Juggernaut does not. You definitely have to readjust your shelf positions in order to put him in a Detolf. Golly. And this one's solidly built in comparison to the two. And I don't remember how much this Juggernaut was. I think he was reasonably priced. I don't think he was $400. I'm really impressed with this. He really came out well. Whoever it was that made it, I don't even remember who made him. But they did a great job, for fact. This Juggernaut is a pure bonus. I had no idea he would turn out as good as he did. They were talking about when you ordered it, they had a secret bonus piece that came with it. And I was truly hoping that it had some way of ripping Deadpool in half. And what it ended up being was these sleeves. You could either have them with the full-on sleeves or the ripped-off sleeves. And this is what the extra bonus piece they didn't tell you about when you ordered it originally were the sleeves. But I was like, sure, it'd be great if you had like a Deadpool just ripped in half. So I've had you guys almost 2 hours. Next week we're going to be doing the wedding suit or whatever it is that Tony's wearing that we see in Spider-Man Homecoming, which I truthfully think is why the Mark 47 is re-released. I truthfully believe that we're going to get some more story there. That when Tony was in India, which is where he was in this white suit that we're going to unbox next week, the Mark 47 was in New York. Because remember, Peter's like, how'd you get here so quick? And he's like, I'm not here. That's when the suit opened up. He's like, nobody's home. And I don't believe for 1 second that he went to India without a suit. Yeah, the 47 could fly to him. But remember when he was in, what was it, Florida in Iron Man 3? Isn't that where he was? When the suit was having to fly to him from Tennessee or wherever it was that the 42 was, the prodigal son, and he's tied up to that bed rail, and he's trying to calculate how much time it's going to take for the suit to reach him so he could fight the bad guys. And he's like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the suit wasn't there yet, and eventually it came like a minute or two later. I mean, he's not going to put that delay in anymore. He learned his lesson in that moment to not have a suit that far away from him. So I have a hard time believing that he would leave the Mark 47 in New York and then him be all the way on the other side of the world, which is where India is. If it took it that long, that he was literally in a life or death situation in Iron Man 3 to get from Tennessee to where he was in Florida, how long would it take to travel at supersonic speeds even, let's say 700 miles an hour, to whatever the distance is? I don't remember what it is, 16,000 miles from one side of the globe to the other, 16,000 miles. So at 700 miles an hour, 7 times 10 would be 7,000 miles an hour. If it's 16,000, so it'd be 20 hours, right? Just math off the top of my head. I may not even be close to being correct. But in 20 hours time, he's going to be dead. He had a suit with him. So he had either the 48 or the 49. And we know there's the Hulkbuster 2. And we know there's the 50. So I think we're going to see that in Black Widow. I truthfully believe that's what we're going to see. The Mark 47 is going to make an appearance, and we're going to get an answer to the 48/49 question. That's my belief. I didn't get my tank pre-ordered from Toy Origins. It says still processing, and I didn't talk to anybody yet, and it's paid for. Oh my. If they accepted your money and took it out of your bank, I think they're probably going to send it to you. I can't imagine for 1 second that they would do that. It takes a while sometimes. Where's Toy Origin from? Are they here in the United States or are they over in Asia? Do you know where they are at? But yeah, I think if they took your money, then you're going to get it. What you can do, though, just like you said, is contact them and say, hey, you got confirmation of this thing shipping? Sometimes even Big Bad Toy Store gets lazy in regards to shipping product out to me. So they will have sent me a message saying they're going to process my credit card. They take the money out of the bank. They send me a message saying you've paid for your figure, and I don't use the pile of loot. You can, if you want, you can pay for your figures and have them just sitting there, and then have them all shipped to you at one time and for $4 for whatever they can get into the box, and you don't have to pay $4 for each piece. And I don't do that because, hell, I'm spending between $200 and $400 on a piece. Like, I want it now. Now, if you're like buying just like the Marvel Legends or whatever, and they're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks or whatever, you may want to put a bunch of them together to make a box of $100 worth or $200 worth. And so they have a pile of loot thing, and you can have them all put into that and shipped out at one point. So when they collect the money for me on my figures, it should be shipped out right then. Hell, I might not get a notification for a week that they finally put it into a box and ship it out. And that's fine. Like I said, I'm the last person on the planet, it seems, to get my figures that I order on the first day they come out, and I haven't even ordered the new Venom yet. So I'm about 99% positive that I'm going to, because I believe in the multiverse, and I'm really hoping that when Sony continues on with the Spider-Man line that they've got going right now, I really hope we do get a multiverse live action upcoming. You know, I think there's been a lot of people that have talked about that, but yeah, I would really like to see an Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland all in a movie together. I think that would be great. That would be fantastic. We've already got the character that played J. Jonah Jameson. Forgive me for not remembering his name, the actor's name. But he's shown us the crossover. He's in the Tom Holland universe. So, and he's in the Tobey Maguire universe. I don't remember if he was in the Andrew Garfield universe. For some reason, I don't remember the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies that well. I've had some severe head traumas in my lifetime, and there was a time where I went practically 10 years. I had a hard time remembering. My short-term memory was gone. So the good thing about that is a lot of things that I've did or seen or viewed then, like first time I seen them, because I might not remember everything that happened during that time frame. So that's kind of fun or neat. But anyhow, I don't remember if J. Jonah Jameson was the same actor in the Andrew Garfield movies. I'm thinking that he wasn't. Okay, so Toys Origins out of Toronto. Okay, why is this not letting me approve this message? There we go. They're out of Toronto. Shartimus! I didn't even see you in here, man. Welcome. I love you, man. Miss you, guy. I need to make a trip out there to Pacifica just to freaking kick in your door and say hello to you. Give your baby some hugs. The shark. So anyhow, like I said, pushing 2 hours. I've kept you guys here a long time. Thank you for sticking with me. Sorry for ranting and going on and on and on and on and on about shit and whatever else. I love every one of you. Thank you for Patreon supporters. And as I was saying, next week's going to be the white. I've got the Jow dolls. I got 2 Jow dolls that we're going to go over as well. So I got 2 of those. I don't know when I'll actually get to those. I've got 2 Fison figures coming, the S36 and the S37, which are the anime version Fisons. So the legs are longer, and they have like, I've got the heads. They have like anime eyes in them too. So I'm looking forward to those. I don't remember why I decided to buy those. I don't have any figure in mind that was thinking of wearing that body when I picked them up. But I'll probably do all those at the same time, the Jow dolls and the Fisons, as one unboxing. Of course, I've got the Mark 47s coming. I got Star-Lord coming. I've got something else told me was coming recently. Nebula should be on the way shortly. Wasp and Ant-Man should be on the way shortly. So we've got plenty of stuff coming up over the next couple of months. Stay tuned, and I love every one of you. I will see you all next week. And I don't think I'm going to do a preview video of the Venom. I should, but not planning on it. And I love you guys. Check out The Mandalorian if you haven't seen it. And peace out, man. Bye.